live here momentarily, folks. But it is going to be Nuke to start things off here for the best of one, and we'll have to see if Sharks. I mean, like we said on paper, can they get it done, or maybe Bounty Hunters? They've been able to do some good prep.
Yeah, prep for sure, but prep is one thing, and kind of putting that theory to practice is another. They've got to go up against a Sharks roster that has looked pretty molded at times, but Myron to find the first incision straight away. Capolo will open up the ramp with a second kill on the Kaiser. Completely disassembles this ramp setup. They were trying to aggress in a lobby, but with that, they have their backs turned, and all of a sudden the Sharks are into the B bomb site. Turtle is here at the B site, but can't stop this plant.
Yeah, now Turtle's just getting overwhelmed. I mean, he's so low, and they even could try to chase this if they want. I mean, be a little bit careless in some sense because they're in a great post-plant positioning right now. But, I mean, for Turtle, 7 HP with armor. I mean, yeah, he's got the dualies, but again, he's going to have to lock in. And this is going to be tough. And now even a good flash comes in where they go for the nice little bit of a swing. Yeah, I think Bounty Hunters, they're going to just have to admit defeat here. And honestly, what a round to win, right? I mean, let's not forget, like, Gafolo is the one that's like, look, let's just go outside. We're going to push through hell. And look at how fast they were able to get those double kills. Like, the fact that he was able to find that double opener, I mean, just so easily. The communication was not there for Bounty Hunters. And this kind of goes back to the point I made is CT side is going to be very difficult on a map like Nuke for a team like Bounty Hunters. And we're starting to get a little bit of a glimpse of that disconnection maybe. But hopefully it's just a quick little bit of a hiccup and they can bounce back.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what they can do, but that already kind of spells a little bit of disaster where the setup just completely falls apart out of nowhere. And that's just the inexperience. You know, you've got to find a way to get the comms in check and try to deal with that as fast as possible, and they absolutely can. Now, a force buy is out here for the Bounty Hunters. We'll see what they can get done with this. Nothing really too aggressive out of the gates. These cross smokes should potentially suggest that they could have crossed downstairs, but nobody budges just yet. There isn't a gamble or anything like that. The Sharks are very keen on just slowing the pace of the round down and forcing that of Bounty Hunters to make such a gamble, but I like this from Gafolo to slow the pace of the round down and make some awkward decisions here out of Kaiser's men.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking the other thing too, Paladin, is like, you know, last night you and I were covering some of the NA matches and just watching a scout being in the field, and someone like Junior was just hitting every single shot with it. I'm like, look, Kaiser, like, I mean, there's a little bit of expectation here now. Like, can you do a little bit of it? But I mean, I know that's wishful thinking, but we'll have to see, because again, for Bounty Hunters, not a bad position for them to be in just with the MP9s. A map like this, you have the positioning that you could be able to put those into good work, especially with the 5.7s as well. But you can already see Sharks looking like they're ready to go. Getting pushed back a little bit. Now time is ticking. It's 23 seconds. They're going to pop open the smoke. They're going to squeeze into this A site. But now we're starting to see the CT's doing a great job on just pushing back, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, these close encounters. This is beneficial now with only 10 seconds remaining, looking to just get this ball money as much as possible, and there we go. Bounty Hunters will be able to bounce back very nicely.
I don't really like that from Gafolo. I do feel like they took a little bit too much time there, and I do like when you kind of be a little bit more methodical there. You try to goad out a rotation downstairs with the cross smokes and even a suggestion with some presence in ramp, but at the end of it all, I think they just take way too much time to actually execute onto that A bomb site. You're nading open the smoke, taking a little bit too much time there, allowing for a vent rotation to come through, allowing for that heaven rotation to come through. Nobody on the Bounty Hunters really bought anything that the Sharks threw, no matter where the kind of fake was coming. And for that reason, you've got 4 players on that upper site, and it doesn't matter what weaponry you have, it's always going to be a dangerous kind of situation. So, unfortunate for the Sharks, but they've got to kind of up the tempo a little bit more, and definitely will this time around, as Koala's gotten downstairs, Zock's under fire, and he's actually going to get pinned from that door side. and manages
my
to get
God.
2. That's huge. Now the rotation is
That's-
in. It slows this round down to a crawl, and these 2 players are now suddenly very, very stranded.
Yeah, that's crazy to think that Zoc was able to find that double kill, but a little bit of a reply back here from RDN. Somebody that, you know, these are the 2 guys we talked a lot about, right? We said Doc's the player to watch, but RDN's a close one as well. And okay, there we go. Really nicely done, cleaned up, but oh boy, man, that was a little bit of a dicey round. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Sharks, despite their investment, they did quite a bit of a packing punch here with some damage.
Yeah, but it's not enough, unfortunately. And at this point, they're going to have to bend the knee. They're going to have to extend this lead for Bounty Hunters. And I don't really like what I saw there. I mean, it really just comes down to Zoc doing a lot of work in that ramp fight. And now, the Sharks will have to, again, talk things over, because situation now is you got a great pistol and it was cool. It was a good strategy trying to cut the distance down and trying to show that you understand the map a little bit better. But since that round, it does feel like they've been overcomplicating things, and that is where the Bounty Hunters have been able to capitalize. Of course, a lot of game to play, but it's just something to think about once we get those guns out again.
Wasn't Gafolo like a relatively like new IGL? Like, I mean, he's called maybe in the past, but nothing high stake. Yeah,
he was opping for a long time, and he had to give that up because his individual level was dipping. And I do have to give him credit that, like, okay, things are not working out for you individually. Like, I want to still show that I've got something to give on this organization. Let me try to call, and I think he's done a fairly good job for that. I mean, in some of the limited time that I've watched him. Of course, he's still got a long way to go because we've seen, as me personally, I've seen the high highs of it, I've seen the low lows of it, where they got battered out of the Dallas qualifiers, and they didn't look like they were a competitive team at all. But I think that really comes down to just that experience and learning how to call out of bad situations, and that takes a little bit of skill and it takes a little bit of time as well.
Yeah, it definitely does, and that's the cool thing too. Like when we talk about like a lot of these teams are starting to have like new IGLs that are really starting to take that challenge, and we all know like how difficult that can be. There's so many lessons you have to learn. So I agree with you. I think it's a good thing that he tried it and kind of recognizing what, I'll pick things up. I'll see what I can do with it. It's a long road ahead. And like you said, it has been some highs, definitely seen some lows, because I think the surprising part, you lightly touched on, was the fact of the qualifier. The fact that they came in, what, like 3rd or 4th place?
Last,
so it wasn't really
last.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. Okay, so even worse than I thought, right? So not the greatest, in terms of performance, but that's where we're saying hopefully things can get a little bit better as time progresses, right?
You'd like to think. This time they're gonna go behind these crossbows, but Myron's here to duel alongside Turtle. They get a 2-for-1. They can fall away as well. A little bit of chip damage on a Nyx. And I like the idea from the Sharks to actually go and follow through with the crossmokes that they have, but Myron and Turtle have already done the necessary damage to make this a doable round here for the CTs. Again, one of these slowdown situations, but another crossfire is available. Myron has spotted out 2 of these players, and sure, he takes a little bit of damage, but at this point, they've already figured out where the Sharks have the rest of these forces, and at this point, maybe try to fly up the vent, maybe see if Koala can find something, and there's nobody's jump spotting from heaven, and with that they can just silently come through, clear out all of this A site, and get the C4 down and try to win out this post plant.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like Kaiser's close on by into lobby as well, so yeah, obviously this Molotov is going to give it away. Kaiser being this close is going to be good though. They might not expect somebody to be that close in counter, but it's all about this on Nyx, right? He's kind of posted up, waiting things out. Oh, Bounty Hunters, double players into heaven, throwing the flash, ready to see, but Koala's just holding a tight angle. It's all about one of these players in lobby. They have to be able to distract this, but oh man, they just get eaten alive. Koala is able to find the double kill. Bounty Hunters now in a tough position where they either have to commit to a kill or they gotta get the heck out of here. But they're gonna try to do it once again. Kaiser only finding the one. Myron, the only last player alive, but Gafolo is gonna be able to find that double. And honestly, a really, really nice round from Sharks, taking it slow, just evaluating their options, and honestly, getting that site the way they did was perfect, right? I mean, I think a bit of a gap from Bounty Hunters on their spotting.
Yeah, a really big gap, right? And you don't have any A-side anchoring, and even the A-side anchor is looking outside for some reason. I guess he's considering that maybe they'll fall back from secret, but you've got to have an answer in that kind of situation in case that they do go back up the vent, because you have a player jump spotting from Toxic, you've got a player jump spotting from Control as well. And both of those jump spots, yes, they're getting you information, but you're playing as passively as possible, and it allows for contact plays like that to happen. This is the issues that come with the territory of having a new roster. It's like, yes, you have all these shiny new weapons to play around with if you're Kaiser, but at the same time, you've got to get them all on the same page, and this time, it doesn't necessarily happen in the 2v3. So they've got to iron these kinds of things out. They've got to have protocols in place to at least have an answer upstairs, to maybe have a player in hut already, maybe a player in the back of the site, or, I mean, straight up, in that situation, you could have had the same setup that you had, but the Heaven player was walking in between angles, walking in between the Heaven angle and into the A site as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Good molly that's going to be thrown on top of hut, so putting a little bit more pressure for Bounty Hunters to have to use some of the utility to just making sure nobody's pushing through quickly. Sharks making it seem like it could be a fast intertake, but that's not going to be the case. I do like this. You can already see a lot of smokes have been depleted. And now they're going to get this outside control once again. Double players into this. So a bit of a 3-2 split. Waiting to see what these double players outside might be able to find. The secret wall is going to be thrown for them. They should be able to cross safely on this. And you can see Zoc still kind of in a different position. Now he has to get the heck out of here. Now he realizes, okay, look, my position's compromised. Now he has to back off onto this. Shark doing a good job amount of real estate work. But they have to be able to find these duels. And this is funny. Doc and I'm trying to think who's right beside him. I think that's Kaiser, actually. Yeah, they're right beside each other through a wall, but just off of a different angle. Buffalo, is he going to expect this swing? He will not, so Turtle's going to get the better of it with just an MP9. Takes some good damage, but again, Kaiser should be able to find this. It should be an easy kill, and indeed it is. So luckily for him, he's got the right moment, the right time. But now you can see Sharks. It's just dwindling on the numbers. They have to be able to find a duel in their favor. Oh, dear God, that's a little bit awkward, but okay, it's fine. It's a little bit recovery. Now Nyx getting scared to swing out of this, and I don't know what's going on. It seems like they're just kind of stuck in a bit of a trap, and it's all just down to RDM by himself. And this would be a quad kill for him to win the round with only 20 seconds remaining. Not meant to be at all. Bounty Hunters, they're putting themselves back up in a fourth.
Really poor calling there from Gofolo. I mean, he did the job there where they're fading this kind of B presence. They get ramp control. They get a player down lower as well. They get 3 rotations downstairs. At that point, if you're Gofolo, you just gotta live for as long as possible. You gotta drain time. And instead, he gives up quite an early fight there. And even after that situation, you gotta press the go button and you gotta go into that A side straight away. You cannot allow for event rotation to come through. And with that, they kind of hit a lurch there. They slow the pace of the round too far. And then they walk into 3 players on that upper site. You've got a player back silo, you've got a vent rotation, and you've got a mini player, and that's unwinnable, frankly. So, the Sharks right now playing a little too slow for my liking in the mid to late round, and it's really costing them. It's allowing for the Bounty Hunters to make some wildly big rotations and get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, these rotations I was thinking for Bounty Hunters, like, I was thinking it was going to be a little bit, worse than what we're seeing right now. Zoc doing a nice job, just the old ramp hold. Oh, God, okay, Turtle. Turtle, there we go. Okay, things are fine. I was like, you don't spray that gun, man. That thing is, I don't know about you, Paladin, but it's like, I just feel like, just a nice little tap, you're good, When you start spraying that thing, and I know it's a bit of a laser beam, but yeah, sometimes it's a bit unforgiving. But you know what? It's fine. No sweat off the brow. These guys make it nice and clean for a 5th. But I think for Sharks, like, yeah, I do want to see a bit of a tempo change. I think this is going to be good for them. I liked that, 2 rounds ago where they tried to do the inner fake. But I want to see a little bit more than that, right? I want to see what Gofolo's got in store for us.
Yeah, I don't even think that the pace is too bad in the early round. I think they're taking map control very well. They're encroaching upon positions very smartly. It's just how they're handling the mid round that's a real issue. And now, Myron's getting a little bit more aggressive. He's gone up into the T roof. He's found a kill as well. The lobby crunch is effective. Now how do Sharks answer in response? They try to take outside control, but that's where Turtle is here. 140 ADR to start out this map of Nuke, and he looks stellar in the yard. Again, one of those slow down man disadvantage scenarios for the Sharks. RDN and Nyx have got to pull it together. They're stuck in spawn here, Laz. That's how brutal this map control has been for the Bounty Hunters. Their players now are starting to get a little bit more confident, and now they're kind of dictating the tempo back onto the T side.
Yeah, I love that we see from Bounty Hunters the fact of just drawing, a big change up. Like I was talking about a tempo change, but these guys were trying to, do the tempo change themselves, like going for a lobby crunch like that. Able to find the 1-in-1. I mean, not always more of an advantage for the CT side, but still, I like that pace. I like that they tried to push them back, and look at the position we're in now. I mean, it was with a minute left, and now we're talking about a 4-on-2 where Sharks are going to have to really hope for something. Like they're just hoping for a low-hanging fruit. But right now, Bounty Hunter's in really good positions. Turtle just having himself a phenomenal round here with the quad kill. And again, he's done a good job just playing outside. He's really mixed things up. And that's the thing. When you have a player that's able to play on the CT side, just watching yard like this, and just mixing up his positions and finding duels like that with double kills, it just becomes so problematic for the T side.
It does. It really does. And the Bounty Hunters will now call attack timeout. And I don't think they necessarily even need it after that round. I mean, they dictated a lot of respect from the Sharks. They're going to have to completely reevaluate how they want to approach this T side, because I sang the praises of this team on this map, but so far it's been a bit of a slow start here. Very sluggish in how they're approaching certain maps, or certain rounds rather, in this map. And I'd like to turn everyone's attention to the VRS issues that could arise for the Sharks if they lose this game. They're currently ranked 42nd. They could drop to 47th in the rankings with a loss here. For the Bounty Hunters, though, it would be a monumental win if they can take this scalp away. 147th all the way up to 119. They could get 28 spots from this game.
That's wild. Like, that's just so ridiculous. So it's a really good point you bring up, and I'm glad you did, because there's so much questions about the VRS system and everyone's still trying to figure it out. But that's some really, really good data just to kind of explain, like, the Bounty Hunters, like, how much could be at stake for these guys if they can find this win. Like we were saying, on paper, Sharks look like they should be the better team, and they have that more experience, and they have been a team longer. But that's the thing. Like, it's been really mixed considering what we've seen so far from them. But now, for Bounty Hunters, I mean, they are on the CT side. Like I said, I was thinking this was going to be the worst side for them. I thought this would be a lot more challenging. But when you have someone like Turtle sitting at a 14-4, putting himself in really just a dominating fashion like this, you gotta love it for Bounty Hunter fans. And right now, a little bit of an inner crunch. Oh my god, it's just labored sprays here with the M-Cores. But I think it should be fine. But now things have turned around for the 2-2. I was thinking this was looking a little bit better for Bounty Hunters. But now the bounty's against them. All of a sudden, it's down to the 1v1 with Zoc down to 1 HP. Still lots of time here. 43 seconds. This bomb's going to go down. What does Zoc do? Does he commit to the heaven, or does he go around? It looks like he is going to decide to go to the heavens to see if he might be able to find himself an opening duel. Nyx is able to get himself tucked away nicely into hut. So a strong post-plant position for him. And this is tough. Zoc has to be so careful on this. He can't take any sort of damage, otherwise he's a dead man. And he's just trying his best from the upper grounds here, the upper view, to see what he can find. And somehow, in some way, Sharks are going to be able to steal a round just in the most unorthodox fashion.
And it's just an upper pop. It's just a very simple upper pop. You smoke off mini. You just try to burst into that bomb site. And it looks so stellar when they're given that much room. Unfortunately, for the Bounty Hunters, as you mentioned, a couple of whiffy sprays here and there, and that kind of cost them. The Tech-9 cutting down that range. And then when they get into that 2-2 post plant, I mean, those Tech-9s can still be dangerous, still be lethal with those dinks from long range if you tap away. They do that necessary damage to force Zoc into an uncomfortable situation. Kairos has got the up-out, but they're jumping over corners. They're going to rinse and repeat this upper pop, and they've gotten into the bomb site once again. But look at Brunino. He just spammed 2 through the smoke. That's going to have the go button for the Heaven players. And Koala can't do anything. I don't know how Brunino just gets 2 players through the smoke from Mini, but it gives Bounty Hunter an extra lifeline.
Yeah, that's so weird and awkward too, because like you can see the mollies are getting thrown out of heaven, and then all the positioning from Sharks, like they just had all their attention towards Mini. Like nobody was looking heaven. I mean, when do you ever expect someone to swing out like that? But I think that was Myron that actually just kind of swung really, really wide off of it. Really nice work from him. But I thought Sharks looking pretty decent, considering Kaiser went for a really aggressive off play, kind of going the shotgun up. Didn't work out at all, but a really, really good rebound for these guys, considering what the threat was. Now Sharks are down by a significant margin here, and we're getting closer to the end of the first half. The hero AK is going to be equipped here for these guys, and that's Koala. I mean, I guess he's kind of the, in the middle of the pack here in terms of, KD ratio, things like that, but this is a lot riding on him. He has to be able to find these entries or rely on his teammates just to kind of give him the space.
Well, he's the ramp player, right? So it's clear that the Sharks are going to go into this position and rely upon him to find the necessary entry. He knows the angles better, but speaking of angles, Doc notching one onto the clip of Kaiser and taking down Myron is Koala. So both big opening gambit plays there from the Sharks work out in their favor. You've got an outside player down. You've got ramp control as well. That means Zoc has got to give away a lot of position. They've got a turtle back up into that B bomb site, and Sharks have a decision to make. They've got to make it now, though. They can't slow the pace of this round down and go into a stack once more. Zoc is the only player here, so it would be the right decision to go downstairs once the smoke fades. But it's got to be that decision. No need to overcomplicate and go back upper.
No, exactly. This is where we've given a lot of criticism saying that, for Sharks, they like to overthink things, really analyzing every single play. So for this, it's just as simple as just to go into the site. Zoc is going to get caught with a deagle right to his dome. Great shot from Nix, and now that's going to be enough in the opening, but Turtle made his presence known, and he's actually going to re-aggress onto this. Oh my god, how does he find a double in that kind of a position? The bomb's going to go down, but man, oh man, he is just trying to put on the hero pants. He's just trying to stop everything in his power, but it's just not enough, unfortunately. But for Sharks, at least they can grab something, and they should be able to find 3 rifles to reward themselves with this round.
The reason why I was a little bit excited there is I was thinking that he would fall back. He gives it a little bit extra of a jiggle, and I think that jiggle is fine. I think you're considering that the player planting is probably still in Astralis, but there was an extra player in No Man's Land that kind of takes him out there. And after that, Brunino's not going to go for it. I mean, maybe if Turtle gets another, he's considering it, but he was already heading for the hills. Either way, the Sharks members do well to simplify things. Make the concept of that round as easy as possible. There's no extra rotation downstairs, and Zoc can't do anything. He's had a couple of heroic rounds so far in this game to shut down this lower play.
Yeah.
And now, all the guns, all the bells and whistles are out for the Sharks. Nix has not had any real impact with the sniper. Frankly, hasn't purchased it. We'll see what he can get done in this final round of the half.
Oh, Myron actually gets aggressive too. So again, they try this little bit of a cheeky play, just really poking and prodding to see what they were able to get away with in terms of lobby. But this time it doesn't work out. We saw a couple rounds before. That's where they were able to get a little bit of 1-on-1. This time Sharks putting themselves in better positions not to get traded out. So now they got themselves a good man advantage. And like you said, I mean, we haven't seen Nix here with the off. Turtle getting a lot of information here, just jumping over smokes. And he now has a little bit of intel, realizing, look, like nobody's really committed to this outside corridor yet. So Sharks are still hesitating a little bit. They're posted all the way back here, Paladin. I mean, Doc is the only player that's up close right now into the outside corridor. Turtle and Brunino are going to be able to maybe swing this out together, but Doc now getting rewarded for these one-on-one fights, but he can't get it done. Doc now maybe an MP9. It's just not enough. So now there's only 2 CTs remaining, and they have to commit to this. There ain't no saving anymore.
Yeah, they're automatically trying to rotate downstairs, and Kaiser's going to stay up. So 1 up, 1 down in total. But Kaiser's going to offer himself up to RDN and still wins the duel. So maybe there's just a little bit of something here in the round for Bounty Hunters. Could still nab that 8th. And now they're considering going back downstairs into Brunino's arms. But instead, they'll take that ramp control that they've been given. They'll go up the stairs into heaven. And Kaiser will have another opportunity at 1 more frag. Whether or not they clear out this angle is another question, and they absolutely won't. time is of the essence, and Kaiser is taking
That's it.
every member necessary. It's all up to Nyx, and you're absolutely right, Laz. There is nothing that the Opera can do. Bounty Hunters with a fantastic half of 8 rounds. We'll see if they can close out and complete their first upset in this best-of-1 series.
All right, well, we're back and ready to go. An 8-4 for Bounty Hunters, showing us an impressive CT side. And now we'll have to see what Sharks have in store for us because, I mean, statistically, this is their better side. But, I mean, things have not looked the most prettiest so far here, Paladin. But, you know, still plenty of Counter-Strike left to prove us wrong.
Yeah, I think this is the real test now for Kaiser. I mean, they've struggled in terms of win rate on this map, and we'll see what the ideas they have on T-side nuke is, and that's not a great start. Doc takes down 2 in mini, and with that, the upper hold also looks stellar. It's just the IGL left up in this one. The utility is not good enough, and Koala will close it out. So 3 kills between the dual Berettas, and credit to the Sharks for just having a lockdown defense upstairs. So already I feel like there's a little bit of pressure mounting slowly but surely for the Bounty Hunters. If they can't get their act together fast enough, that's where the Sharks can kind of roar back to life, put that weaker T side behind them. And I think this will be a real test for Kaiser, honestly, as to what he's done with this team. Of course, you can have these pop-up performances from players like Turtle and even Bonino with a couple of multis in that CT side, but now that you're on the offense, how are you going to kind of orchestrate things? I think that becomes a much more difficult thing to do as a caller.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know how you feel about this map, but I feel like being on the T side on a map like Nuke, I think it's one of the more difficult ones in my perspective. Like, I think you can
Hmm.
get that yard control, things like that, but I mean, you're gonna have to have a little bit more than that, right? You definitely need to know the right timings and the utility, things like that. So I think, like you said, it's a really good thing you bring up about Geyser, because we're gonna have to see what they can do a little bit differently. Again, let's not forget this is a relatively newish team with a bunch of different people from all different iterations of rosters. So it's looking like a bit of a massacre. Given what they just did, they went dry onto the yard. But I mean, now things are getting a little bit closer. But we get to see the full gun round. This is going to be a good test. Like, this is where we kind of talked about in the pre-show. Look, what have bounty hunters done to get themselves prepped for a map like this? Because we said, like, on paper, this is definitely the better map for Sharks just historically. But I mean, bounty hunters are in a prime position where they could anti-strat, they could know a lot of gimmicks, but have they done their homework though?
Yeah, that's the real question. We'll see what they've got planned so far. They'll have limited utility. That's one issue that they have straight away. And I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna get through this with only this bit, because you've got one flash. You've got one flash to try and get them this round. And yes, you got 5 smokes, but a lot of these plays are going to have to be dry. So you're essentially going to have to outposition the Sharks from second 1 of round 15. Now, what is that ultimate position that they'll have? We'll have to wait and see. Here come the cross smoke straight away, and it's just a raw default. I don't think they're aware. I don't think they've got the stock of how little utility that they have. And now they're really going to be dug into the starts of this round here, and that's making matters worse. Nyx finds a kill on the turtle, and sure, they found ramp control, but you already know what's happening at this point.
Yeah, good positioning though from the wall. This actually could be a strong position. Oh man, I was thinking maybe. I thought he was going to be able to at least find himself that one duel, but now the rotate's coming through. Plant's going to get faked a little bit. Lots of time still committed to this, and there we go. Look at these AKs. They're starting to sing now. Myron able to find himself a double kill, and now it's just down to RDN. A 1-on-4. This is asking a whole hell of a lot. I mean, again, like, is he really going to even try to entertain this? I mean, he might just try to look for some cheeky kills here and there, but man, he's just got to save this thing. I mean, he's got armor, he's got the kit, utility, and AK. Like, he's got the full package right now.
What are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Oh no, we talk about overthinking, Paladin. We talk about overthinking.
I mean, it's fine, but
still,
he's exposing himself up to Mini as well. Like, okay. Anyways, I mean, I think in that situation, I felt like that was a very obvious case scenario where you need to at least send one player downstairs to help your ramp player. Like, the ramp guy can give up that space. Yes, that's allowed. But you can't leave him alone in that situation. I mean, there's got to be some sort of push and pull when he makes that kind of play. And it's a very poor one. They don't get any answers anywhere else. And Koala just gets blindsided straight up. It's not a fair position for him to be in that kind of an island. And that's just a very poor round from the Sharks. And one, you got to commend to the bounty hunters for kind of finding a way to dig through. Myron still does great work in opening up the control side of things, but it should not have been that easy with the kind of utility edge that the Sharks had, as well as the firepower. They're going to take a second time out to get Kochi on the mic, but there's some real sluggishness to the Sharks in this map of Nuke so far.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the biggest thing about Sharks, right? I mean, I feel like, we're putting a bit of a expectation for these guys, and there's all these reasons why, but I feel like I haven't been impressed with them. Like, let's be honest. I mean, it's been really up and down. I feel like a lot more down than up. So when we see rounds that get kind of, given up like that, where it really should have been a lot better from them, that's just where I kind of scratch my head. But I don't want to take anything away from bounty hunters too, because that's like, I feel like they have been playing decent so far on this map, but we're gonna need to see a whole heck of a lot more right now from Sharks, because it just feels like they always seem a little bit disconnected at times. And that was something we really noticed against the the legacy game for the closed qualifiers. But we'll see if they can pick things up now. Like you said, the coach having a little bit of a conversation. Is it going to be enough?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, cross coming in for the bounty hunters. Doc will try to spam through, but It looks like they'll get downstairs unscathed. 4 players to breach this B bomb site. Bruno holding down lobby as that late lurk in case they want to double back, but 2 players instantly rotating downstairs, and Koala's still dealing with ramps. So there's a 3rd player also in tow in case they want to respond to this B bomb site. When did they pull the trigger is the real question.
Yeah, the Molly's gonna flush him out, but Doc, I mean, now he's in a bit of a grindy position. How is he able to win a double kill like that? Everybody's just so hesitant for the swing. They just go for these one-on-one fights that just feeds them. So he does a great job just to stunt them a little bit longer, but now Bounty Hunters, 38 seconds, they gotta get moving. They gotta make a bit of a play here. And now they've actually retreated this plan a little bit. They've gone to the other side, a little bit more of a funnel. And actually the CTs are gonna re-aggress onto this. Wallow with a nice little bit of a spray, gets rewarded with the AK. But look at the positioning right now for the T's. These guys are split apart from each other. This is not great because now Zog has to be able to win these gunfights. Look at the amount of damage he takes and just quickly going to get traded out. And Bounty Hunters, they got nothing to work with and they just give up round number 16.
What are you doing on T-Roof? How? This guy's been on T-Roof the whole round. Your players are fighting downstairs and you're just on T-Roof for the entire round. That is insane to me. That is absolutely insane to me. I don't understand what the decision was there. Was he gonna save in a 3v5 straight away, even though you've gotten lower control? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like why he would be up there, but I was thinking he doesn't even have utility. Like I was thinking maybe he was going to use his utility to cause some kind of a distraction or something as a fake.
He's not even on silo to potentially cut off rotations. He's on the roof. Like
no position to throw anything. Yeah.
That is giving up. That is giving up with like a minute left on the clock. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's exactly what we were saying about like a team like Bounty Hunters where, everybody's relatively new as this team. So I think that, chemistry and like the communication, this is where it gets really, really bumpy, right? Especially when things are getting this close of a scoreline. Like that's a huge gap. Like when you have a teammate in a 3-on-5 that's just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not doing it. You guys are on your own. Like good luck. I mean, those are things you got to talk about. So they did do the timeout, thankfully, hopefully to clean that up a little bit. But that's just careless. That's just sloppy CS, to say the least.
Yeah, but they're gonna simplify things. They're gonna go up into this upper site, straight into the crosshairs of RDN. Gafolo's here as well. And yes, you try to simplify it, but the headshots go the CT's way. Nyx is now chiming in as well. It's all up to Kaiser. Money has run dry. The coffers no longer full, and the Bounty Hunters, they had ripe opportunities, and yes, their first gun round looked good, but now things are slipping. It comes down to, when we get into crunch time like this, it's who can make less mistakes, right? You're not getting the sharpest CS out of both sides. It really just comes down to who can kind of pull together the most individuals to play the cleanest CS. And clean is a very relative term, right? Obviously, with how we've been kind of being scrappy throughout this game, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that, with the timeout, they try to go for, call it a simple tactic, but like, look, let's crunch into the A site. Let's just, try to barrel into this.
Yeah, it's a fine
It doesn't
call.
work out. Yeah, it's a good call, right? It's a good way to just clean things up, do something a bit more simplified. Let's not complicate it because clearly we can't do that right now. So, a nice shot from the IGL from Kaiser, but I mean, he's got to be a dead man. He's got nothing really to work with unless he can find. Oh, okay, he gets rewarded an M4. Oh, maybe a little Saverino. Not bad, Mr. Kaiser.
He could, but
He's
to die
tested.
after time.
Oh no.
And now he's got a chance to plant. Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking that nade would have just given it up, but he doesn't turn around in time, and he does eventually die. So the Bounty Hunters now will give up 9 rounds in this situation, and now the Sharks can really feel a bit more comfortable in this game. Yes, they've had a very rocky T side. Their CT side had a little bit of some hiccups as well with some slower rotations. But they're kind of slowly revving to life here.
Ooh.
And immediately put down is Doc outside. I mean, Turtle has had his number in this position on both halves.
been really impressed with Turtle. He's really had himself a good game, right? I mean, I feel like he's not even like the highest rated player on this team yet. Like he definitely is like that second, player, but he's really had himself some really good connections so far and just given them a lot of like good opportunities to win rounds, if not pretty much, putting the round in their hands. So we'll see if he can find a little bit more. He's almost pushing a 20 bomb right now, so not bad at all. I mean, around like this is always kind of tough too, because like going ramp with Deagles, like I don't know. I mean, you got the range to your advantage, but at the same time, like you got to worry about like if someone was boosted. Thankfully for them, they don't have to stress about that right now. Koala is clearing up everything, so their positioning might be a little bit awkward, but no, they're going to be able to get this done. Mincemeat. These guys should be done in no time. They go for a double swing, and there we go. Right back to a tie game.
Yeah, another situation where they take a little bit of a gamble, Sharks, and they just completely evacuate the ramp. I feel like in those rounds, you just don't have to overcomplicate. I think you can play in a very standard setup and get away with it, but that nearly came down to some poor timing, and that could have been a disaster, and I would have had my head in my hands again. But we avoid that calamity, and we move forward. Split game right down the middle at 9s. Both players have their AWPs out in Nyx and Kaiser, but who finds the impact? Because neither player has truly found impact with the big green on a map like Nuke. You'd be surprised that that's the case. Cross smokes in from Big Red, but nobody's showing face just yet. They're gonna continue to try to blow it up with these smokes, and Turtle, you'd think that he'd be spotted, but he gets away with murder downstairs.
Oh boy. The fact that he's able to get some good positioning is huge. So now, actually, Nyx is putting a little bit of good pressure onto ramp. Okay, Gafolo, nicely done. Handles the threat of Turtle very, very nicely. And now the positioning for Bounty Hunters, once again, just kind of all the way posted up, split apart from each other. Still trying to figure out what they want to do on this. Wallace should be able to get a free, easy kill, and indeed he will. Yeah, a really good round from Sharks. Now they can just kind of pull back, right? I mean, they don't have to do anything too pressing on this. They can just kind of post up, now making Bounty Hunters work even harder and getting an extra sweat on this. But now the op on the T side does, for the first time, I think, ever, has made a connection on something.
Yeah, they do have to go, though. There's not much time on the clock, and they've got to find a way back in, and it's got to be off the captain's sniper, you'd like to think, but Myron's got a little bit of space back in. It's Doc, who's playing a very passive, tight angle here. Finally gets an opportunity, but the trades are good. Kaiser will find one more. All of a sudden, all of the great work from the Sharks have been completely unraveled. It's all up to the sniper of Nyx. He's not really even had a shot off in this round so far, but it's gotten a lot of room to slide out. He spots out Zock's shoulder. He spots out Myron as well, but can't hit any of the shots. Zock will close it out. That should be an unlosable round there for the Sharks. I do not know how they crumble like that.
It's so frustrating to watch, yeah, because again, like, Sharks are in a great position where they find 2 fights, they're up by a 5v3, they actually were kind of pulling back and getting themselves set up in those sites, but at the same time, I think they had one player committed still in radio, just kind of still being aggressive, which I felt like didn't need to happen. So again, this decision making from Sharks is very questionable at times. Like, things can look pretty good, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, let's just throw a random Uno and just something weird, and then it always backfires. But for Bounty Hunters, a really good way for them just to kind of take, a lot of adversity in that round, bringing themselves to double digits now, back into the lead. But for Sharks, like, we need to see something cleaned up quick. I mean, they got double MP9s on this round, Paladin, so I'm kind of thinking, do we see that maybe lobby crunch again? Do we see some kind of aggression with these kind of weapons now?
I mean, I think they just made the right decisions initially. It's just you've got way too passive of a stance in A. And I understand, you've got the man advantage, you want to turtle up, but you can't turtle up like that. Not in CS2. No, sir. You've got to still be vying for at least a little bit of information. You've got a player heaven as well, Doc. Like, there's just no reason for you to be kind of encroached upon the silo like that in that kind of situation. And now things go from bad to worse. Outside, Kaiser's finally starting to imprint his name in the conversation. He's trying to edge out Nyx in that head-to-head. And the Bounty Hunters have gotten themselves a man advantage. Doc has picked up that sniper off of his dead teammate's corpse, but what he wants to do with that is another question. Resmokes outside to facilitate a cross later is here. But the bounty hunters don't necessarily want to use it. They're thinking of going through those smokes and trying to take garage control instead. And that'll give them a lot of valuable information. It gives them an opportunity for a lot of different plays. They can go upstairs to A. They can go downstairs to split through ramp. A lot of options. And Koala's aware of this. He understands that outside has been completely compromised. How do they respond, though? They've got to find some bits of information, and everybody's passive across the map.
Oh, but Doc, are you going to be ready for this at all?
Oh!
Man, he still is! Okay. I was thinking he was a dead man. But no, look at him. The Doc has been able to write some prescription. It's going to be the double op to get things moving. But now Bounty Hunter's able to find themselves loading this kill feed. RDN trying his darndest here with the MP9. This is the thing that sucks about it. The range is just such a disadvantage, but these guys are low. They're both very, very lit. A combination of 29 HP or 19 HP. I can't even do math live, but RDN in a good position where he might be able to find these engagements, and he does. Now he might be able to go through the defuse, but he doesn't have a kit, so time is against him here. He has to be able to win this fight. Zoc just needs to hold on as much as possible, and there we have it.
That's a big clutch there for Zoc. Really dicey scenario there, but the Bounty Hunters, they don't squander the man advantage. They finally get it over the line. Oh, man, we have some scrappy CS and then some so far in this map. And something tells me that there's just a lot more CS to come. I don't think that this one's going to be a clean one to the end. But Sharks will give up map point here on their own veto of nuke. But so far, it does feel like Bounty Hunters are finally righting the ship. They're finally punishing mistakes, and they're becoming a cleaner team. Oh my god, I can't even dish out compliments now. I gotta just, like, wait until the round is over.
Yeah. Oh, this is just... I don't even like say chaotic. Like, I don't even know the right word. Like, I feel like sloppy is like the word I'm just thinking about, honestly. Like, it's on both ends here too. Like, where it looks good for one team and then the other team's like, hang on a second, I want to make something worse. And then you're like, okay, well, look, I don't get it, but ay.
2 rifles picked up for Nyx and Koala. No armor, mind you, so keep in mind about that aim punch. And Bruninho's been taking a lot of space in ramp. There's an opportunity to go downstairs if they want, but there are 2 players from the Shark side that are downstairs. So Bruninho will take matters into his own hands and try to clear out this upper site. If he is diligent about this, he should be able to find the route up. He finds the player, and Vent takes a lot of time and manages to still close it out. My goodness, that nearly turned into disaster once more, but somehow the Bounty Hunters find themselves a clean round, and it only took USPs to do it.
Yeah, and they're on map point, right? I mean, this is the series point for this best of 1, so I was thinking this veto was looking pretty good for Sharks, but I guess I'm getting mistaken here. I guess these guys have, done some good homework. They've been able to play a little bit better nuke CS right now, but Sharks now needing 3 rounds to grind out an overtime scenario. And what do Bounty Hunters have in store for us? Smoke wall's already going to get thrown a little bit here, just some counter utility. A little bit aggressive now from Kaiser, gets passed into radio. Now they're going to try to press a little bit forward against Koala. He's the one player lurking onto this ramp. He's the guy that's controlling it. Zoc's already got himself on top of Mini. This is a lot faster of a tempo right now from Bounty Hunters. These guys have really turned things up a little bit more just to see what they can be able to find. I love this pace that we're seeing right now, but RDN does actually find himself a good opening with that smoke being a bit of a gap.
Definitely. And now, the Bounty Hunters, they had an initial game plan of trying to take all that garage control that's been so kind to them in this game. And with Turtle falling, what do? Do you A-exec? You try to contact your way through? I mean, they're dumping a lot of utility to facilitate that. Byron and Bruninho are here. Zoc is going to try to pinch in from Mini. This seems like the last-ditch effort, and Bruninho's hit a cracker of a headshot, make it a double as well. That's a clean couple of kills there. Make that 1 more added to the tally. 3 in total. Koala and Doc will try to make a round out of it, but Doc takes significant damage. Koala, though, will find 1 more, but
Huge.
They weren't thinking about Zoc on the flank. And now it's all up to Doc. He did great work to open up this round, but his position's been noted, and now it should be a one-done deal. Oh my god.
Why?
Man.
Why are you swinging? I don't get it. You're in a 2v1. You're in such a strong position. You have somebody in Squeaky and you have somebody on Heaven. Why the hell are they swinging? Why are they fighting this? That's the thing. Like, it's just, it's just like dagger in my heart. I don't get it. The round was in their favor. Like, all they had to do was just wait. They just had to play together. Oh, such a disconnect once again. And this is the thing we've seen from Bounty Hunters. You get these moments where rounds are in their control and then they just make some like weird call, or somebody just doesn't call them, or I don't know what it is, but now they have to put a light eco onto this round, and this game's going to be even potentially closer than it should have been. It should have been done. And they're just going to run inside, sure, but Sharks now, I mean, they should be able to have the read on this. Kaiser getting himself potentially into lower. No, he's going to get eradicated. The M4 is just going to be able to make all these connections, no utility to block anything off. It's a quick and dirty round, and I was thinking maybe they could have got the bomb down just to add a little bit extra coin to the pocket. Nothing at all. Unless we see something of the impossible right now from this player alone. Like, I mean, a 1-on-5 is asking so much out of him, but I mean, he's got time to work with, but really, it's not realistic. And RDN coming up big with a triple when needed.
I mean, I'm still thinking about that round. You got a triple entry in the upper side and you can't close it out? Really? I mean, I told you it was at 12-9. I told you that there would be there's no way that this game would end cleanly. I could smell overtime from this end of the caster booth. And I still feel like we're heading for that direction.
Yeah, it's starting to kind of feel like that's inevitable right now, right? It feels like that is really the case, but it's so disappointing to see. Just right there, the brink of it. Now some aggressive work from both these teams, actually. We're seeing that Bounty Hunter's getting a little bit more foot on the gas on the outside corridor. Same as for the CT side, but it goes in favor right now for Bounty Hunters. They've been able to find at least the opening duel. Zoc does get away with another kill in his favor with 18 HP to spare on this one. So now Sharks down by 3 members only remaining. A 5-on-3, an advantage situation again. Paladin, we have seen this before, but...
Man advantages don't matter, man. Man advantages don't matter, okay? At the end of the day, there need to be 5 people hitting the same bomb site at the same time, and if that doesn't happen, this round is still very much possible for the Sharks. So let's see what they decide to do here. What is the game plan? Round 24, everything in your hands, Kaiser. You just gotta put the golf ball into the hole. That's all we ask for. So they're just going to contact out this A site. And again, I don't know why we're contacting. I don't know why we're giving a chance to RDN. But they still go 1 for 1. They can finally toss in some utility. Mini is smoked off, but Koala's here. The rotation is in. Koala doubles down.
Not again.
And there's still hope for the Sharks. They keep trying to cut down the distance. Nyx finds a dink as well before he falls. And Koala finds a triple. Of course it was overtime, lads. It was always overtime. Oh my god, why are we contacting?
I don't get it. I just don't get it. How are they in that kind of a position? Like you
said,
they
had mollies, they had smokes,
everything.
They had flashes, they had everything, and they decided to 5-man walkout door. I cannot believe it. Oh my god.
All it would have taken is just throwing 1 or 2 mollies just to flush out some of those positions, just to even make it a little bit easier. But you going in dry like that, it just makes it even more of a question mark when you're going in, because you have to clear so many angles. That's not an easy bomb site to take. You have to check upper, you got to check behind the vents, you got to check hot. Like, you have so many different angles, and that's why CTs can have such a good, amount of gunfights in their favor. But oh boy. I mean, look, for Shark fans, probably a little bit of relief here, but this is that inexperience we were talking about as a team for Bounty Hunters. I can't stress that enough, but god, it is so much inexperience, just some like careless decision making. But look, overtime, cash is flowing. An op's going to be back out here for Kaiser. I don't even know if I like this op being on T side personally. Like, I think it would just be better as a 5 rifles for them, just considering of what they've been going for. Apparently, contact strats are the way to go. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to go right back into it. I was kind of questioning if we were going to have to take a little bit of a break, but thankfully we don't. Thankfully we can get back into the action.
Oh.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, man, oh, man. Just needed a moment there, Paladin. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all do. This has been a map of Counter-Strike. A good one, a bad one. A good one, a bad one. That's for up for debate. It's up to you to decide as the viewer. If you think that this is a good map, if this is exciting CS to you, then by all means. I mean, it is all over the place. That's for sure. Brunino's found one through the smoke straight away. Koala's gone down, the danger man of the past few rounds, and he's gonna take that ramp control straight away. The B split is in the minds of the bounty hunters as they've got this cross smoke wall lined up. They've just got to get downstairs and join hands with Brunino is the real question. But how do they do that is the question on everyone's minds. They're out of smokes, so they're kind of just stuck outside. I don't think they were planning for this, but all of a sudden, Brunino might give them another route back into this game. He's just completely stalking his prey and finally takes him out. But what do? I mean, do you go back into mini, into A? Yeah, I guess you do. Okay, all right. Pack it up. Oh god.
Paladin needs a minute, folks. That's fine. It's just again this calling is it's just all over the place. Like I was thinking, even that kill was good, really good trigger discipline from Brunino, but Kaiser now 1-on-3 in the lower site with an op. Oh goodness.
And we still doable.
This is doable. Like he's playing it right. Like he's trying to put some pressure on this. Gets the first fight, why not? But the defuse is coming in. No kit? How do you not have a kit? How do you not have a kit? It's overtime and they're just doing a 10-second defuse. Oh my god, you're joking. You're absolutely kidding me. Oh god. What is happening?
Both of those players didn't have a kit, by the way. Both of those players didn't have a kit. Wow. Wow. Oh my god.
That's a first. I honestly think that's a first. I don't think I've ever seen an overtime round where
all of a sudden there are suddenly 5 kits on the CT side. I wonder why.
Everyone's like, oh yeah, crap, we have money for a kit? Yeah, everybody buy one, please.
Oh my god.
Oh, what is happening, Paladin?
Okay, so why was I miffed about that previous round from the bounty hunter side, right? Is Brunino gets a ramp kill, takes ramp space, and they're considering the lower hit, but obviously it doesn't work out. Brunino doesn't even go downstairs in the first place, right? So in that situation, he gets the kill back onto RDN. That means you know lobby is free. If you know lobby is free, give up outside control, walk back in a lobby together, and take the A site, trade out effectively. You can do the contact play there if you want. You got plenty of time. But instead, they go into a position where they have no information. They don't know what's behind the smoke wall. They don't know who's in garage. They don't know who's in mini in that situation. And it's just a free crossfire for all of Sharks to set up in. And that is to their own demise. Sure, Kaiser tries to bring it close, but that should never be that close in the first place. That should be another putting round situation where they should be able to close it out. And this is another one of those situations where they're in a man disadvantage and they've got to look towards Turtle to find some answers outside. He's got a little bit of space. They try to contact into that ramp side of things. They kill Gafolo and Koala backs away. So again, you've given ramp control. You've been given a 3v3. What do you do now? They slow the pace of the round down. They hold. And if they can freeze for just a second here and allow for the Sharks to stay 2 downstairs, they could be onto something. They could go back upstairs and have the right play in mind. But Doc has come through the rafters. He's rotated through the AC vent, and he's got Turtle dead to rights. The vent rotation comes through, and Brunino is now thrust into a 1v3. He's got the bomb on his back, should be able to get the C4 down, but where he repositions now is the main question.
Yeah, he's got no utility to really work with either. He has that HE. He's going to just try to bail it now. He's trying to go for this quick bit of a fight. A little bit of damage against Doc. Nothing much at all. But again, he has to be able to find one of these fights. And oh no, the ult misses. The most sloppy spray in the world. But somehow Nyx is going to be able to find it. Okay, well, that's going to be another round going to be gained here for the Sharks. I was thinking, man, that like again, if Nyx wasn't able to win that fight, that round.
I mean, the Sharks gave it to him.
Yeah,
it gave it to
I know. They 100% did. They played these 2 different weird angles. and just allow him to be able to have these one-on-one fights. And I mean, it was just sloppy aim and a bit of a panic just considering, but okay, well, Sharks are going to be able to push through with it with the 2 rounds in their favor, but boy, oh boy. I mean, Bounty Hunters at least are getting into these sites. I mean, sure, that's something, but it just seems like these post plants are just a whole other question. Okay, well, back out to the outside once again. Sharks not really going to try to put too much pressure onto this one. We saw before they actually had a couple players pushing onto red. This time Nyx is going to be close onto blue box here with the op. Waiting to see if these mollies are good. Allowing Turtle to get across here, but I think if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be RDN that's close up by. Yeah, he's in a prime position here. He might be able to pounce on this. He might be able to find these kills, but he does some damage. Not bad, but now we get the man advantage once again here for Bounty Hunters, but it doesn't even mean anything. We've seen lots of rounds where they're up by 5-on-3 and they still somehow able to slip and, you know, the rug gets pulled underneath them. But now we just have to see what Sharks can do. The op's still in the rotation as well. Can Nyx be able to find some kind of, you know, connection, something we've been waiting for?
Haven't really had that in this game so far. A bit of a non-factor. Outside control still firmly in the favor of the Bounty Hunters. Doc goes through his own utility and it completely surprises Zoc altogether. That does net an even kill 4v4. That activates Turtle, moves him downstairs. The rest of the T's are also here. Brunino's still on T roof. Loves that position, I guess. And this 4v4 should be solidified for the Bounty Hunters, especially now that this lurk from Brunino can come through.
And now down to just Nyx. He has to be able to find something. Misses the shot. Not going to happen. But Bounty Hunters at least can get themselves a round in their favor. Still the advantage here for Sharks, and we're getting ready to go into that second portion here for the overtime. I mean, Sharks, I think they looked a lot, you know, better. I would argue they looked probably a little bit better on their T side, but not by much here, Paladin, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some good rounds from the Bounty Hunters on their defense, but I think that wholly came off of the momentum that the Sharks gave them with some of their sluggish starts. So, obviously, if the Sharks can produce what capable T rounds that they're known for, then this should be an open and shut case. But of course, as you've seen in these many rounds of Counter-Strike, that I don't think that's necessarily the case. Soft, aggressive in ramp, but that's all to their own demise because they're going upstairs. They're going into these CTs. Yes, Gofolo finds a couple, but all of his teammates have fallen around him. He's taken significant damage, and Turtle will close it out. So 14 all, as I don't think there's really any real favor that I'm giving to any of these teams right now.
No, I think, you know, like we said, you know, we talked about statistics and, you know, we can analyze as much as we can, but I think at this point, like, this game is just, it's just all over the place. We have no idea. This is anybody's game. And when you get into, you know, overtime, I mean, the strat book is pretty much, you know, most likely depleted. You know, everybody's kind of used everything they can think of. It's really about your gut feel. So we'll have to see whose gut's going to be a little bit better on this one, I guess, because all of a sudden we're back to the tie game. A little bit of a spam. Reno trying to do his best. This is the smoke, unfortunately. No nade damage going to come through. And it is the first to 16, in case people are not aware, but good utility from the CT side. It might actually, I think that's Brunino. He's going to get himself into vent. So he's actually got himself in a decent position here if they expect to go for a lower hit, but they're still posted up, man. They're not even moving again. Like, this is their default scenario. Just absolute slow play.
Complete slowdown here, and they're trying to pop through this door, and I don't know how Doc has been able to wrap through Mini that easily. 5v3, make that 5v2, and finally a well put together round. I'd argue the first round in this game from either T side. And they get into that A site with ease. Beautiful little flashbang there from Nyx to make the Mini player uncomfortable and give basically a layup there to Doc, and in terms of that split in. And it just looks like pure butter being sliced through on that A site.
Okay, Zoc. That's an attempt if I've seen one. Why not, I guess. I like how he doesn't even, like, clear the angles with a gun. Like, he just has the smoke, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw the Hail Mary, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna try this ninja. No dice. Snake eyes. And now we see Sharks back on a match point. Can they do it? Can they get across the finish line? Dun dun dun.
We've been here before. We've been here before. But the Sharks finally look like they're turning a new leaf of sorts. Piecing together a well-crafted round. But Zoc again aggressing through ramp. Through his own utility, mind you. So we'll see how aware the Sharks are in case they do want to double back to that position. And they're definitely considering it at this point. 3 players walking into the lines there. Zoc has an opportunity to go huge, but he doesn't get anything. It's just auxiliary damage, and RDN has forced the rotation on a Kaiser in the ramp as well. So already a lot of good work from the Sharks in the early round. But here's the dreaded mid-round that they've got to piece together. It's something that they've had real problems with throughout regulation. They've just got to group together. They've got to trade. That's the name of the game. And they will through ramp side. Kaiser was looking at this line for... Oh, my God.
What? Oh, my... oh, my God. I was looking at the molly. I'm like, isn't that his teammate's molly? Like, what is he doing? Like, why is he in this molly?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. They're going to get flanked. Oh, Turtle, I can't believe it. If he would have been able to find that double, I think that could have really just found them the round. But at least that kill can bring things back to the 3-3. Trades going back and forth. Okay, look. We've been here before. Things are right back to the 2-2. Bomb's going to go down. And the positioning now for both these CTs. They got the op. They got a molly as well. They do have kits this time, thank God. But can they even get it close to the bomb to get this defused? They have to go for it. It's all here. All the marbles. Myron will be able to throw this molly deep into red box. He might be able to flush this player out. Should get thrown. There we go. Nix goes for a swing. He gets a little bit roasted. Not enough. And now it's all just down to Kaiser. The IGL needs to do something big. A jumping 5-7. Why not? He has to get some kind of cool kill. But now it's all just down to him. The IGL is going head to head. And Gafolo, instead of just shooting any bullets, he's just going to play it safe. He's just going to wait things out. And Kaiser does everything to scout him out. And that's going to be the game. Kaiser takes way too long. And Sharks are going to be able to find themselves with a 16-14 victory on a map on Nuke. I mean, we got here. It was grueling, but at least they get it done.
Yeah, and you know what? As far as the favorites go, you know, a win is a win. You get some VRS points, and it doesn't matter what the score is in terms of that victory, right? You're still going to get the VRS points. You're still going